Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over the very famous 8-Ball, number 8. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Random Access. It's a full-size, full-color anthology that I produce every month with a whole slew of different artists. This is issue number 35, and it's me, Astor D., Jeremy Duncan, Gwedick, Jamie Barrows, Doug Roberts Grimm, with a cover by Paul Courtjohn. So there's a whole bunch of different awesome artists out here in this issue. You can get these at patreon.com/Alex Turbin, or you can go to the website Comics Creators Marketplace, and it has all kinds of different books from myself and all kinds of different artists, with more joining the stable of comic books to be on there. Be in there. So thanks for all the support that you guys give, and we've got some really cool stuff coming along. So 8-Ball for Mature Readers by Daniel Clowes. I'm not a huge fan of Daniel Clowes. It's weird. It's very weird. I have very unusual thoughts about Daniel Clowes. He does produce good stories. He does do weird stuff, which I like both of those. I do enjoy his art. I enjoy his art sometimes. I don't like this big head thing, and covers like this where you have the people talking on it and you have different things going on. Don't enjoy it. I do not enjoy this. It's like that Avengers cover with the first appearance of Rogue, where they just put a whole bunch of panels together on it. I don't really love those. Let me know what you guys think about that. But I do like this kind of stuff. I do like the regular black and white indie look, and I just love his very clean inking style and just his very clean characters and stuff like that. So I'm just going to talk about that for a little bit before we actually get into the book. I'm going to look at the first story, and hopefully we'll get into another story. Each one of these usually has a main story, and this is like a velvet glove cast in iron. I think this is also where Ghost World, I think Ghost World was in 8-Ball, or was it its own graphic novel? If anybody is a Dan Clowes fan and knows the difference, let me know. But so there's a lot of stuff that I do like, and a lot of stuff that I'm not really thrilled about in both in 8-Ball and Dan Clowes in general. One of the things that I really am I'm not entirely sure about is his whole demeanor towards comic book collecting, comic book fans in general, and the comic book populist creators and stuff. He's got a very downtrodden look on things for the comic book audience and the comic book readers, and really I understand it. I really do. I do understand it, because let's face it, we're a bunch of nerds, we're a bunch of geeks. Some people are a lot more to the nerdy, geeky, socially outcast kind of thing, whereas other people are a little bit more on the cool side. I mean, you look at Kevin Smith, who's into cool stuff like cool music and hockey and stuff like that. I feel like I'm a little bit more onto that spectrum of being on the cool side. So there's a lot of different. I mean, everybody that reads comics is completely different, but we all share a certain commonality. And but those people on the real far nerdy, geeky, weird, have a hard time having a conversation, that kind of thing. Those I feel like they're my people, and so when Daniel Clowes kind of puts them down or something, I don't think he's doing it in a way that he's saying that they're his people. Those are my people. Comic book fans are my people. I like to tell people about the story of the cool guy that was at Q*bert's, the skater. He had all the friends. He was cool. He lived in the mansion, because there were two places to live: either Clinton Street, which is a big house, or the mansion, which is an even bigger house. But then we had Matt. I can't remember his name. Matt. he did he after he was at Hubert's, Matt, I can't remember his name, Matt something. He sat right in front of me, and he went on to be the anchor for the X-Men for a long time. Matt, no, I can't remember his last name. But anyway, um, the cool kid was like Matt was like a super nerdy geeky kid, and he like was very quiet and kept to himself. But the cool kid was always like, or once he was like to all of the other people when Matt wasn't around, he's like, this kid doesn't realize how much we idolize him and how much we think he's awesome, and like he's just, he's like stuck in high school or junior high or whatever, where he was the geeky lonely kid and all he could do was draw and everybody made fun of him and stuff, and he kind of couldn't really get out of that mold. And he's like, he's like a legend to us. He's because his art really was super spectacular. Even at that point, even being in Kubert's, we all knew that he was going to be a superstar. And he went on to be a fantastic anchor for the X-Men. I don't know what he did after that, but or what he's doing now. But he was a really cool guy, and he's one of my people. And so to have Daniel Clowes just kind of give a hard time to those kind of people who are, yes, they are kind of social outcasts, kind of pariahs. They are still my people, and I love them, and I think that you guys probably deep down love them too. Anyway, it's been 6 minutes. Joe would be yelling at me, get it to the book, get it to the book. So like a velvet glove cast in iron. Another thing about Daniel Clowes, I never understand a thing he's talking about. When it's these longer things, because this is part 8, I really don't understand. But then his shorter stuff, I can kind of get a handle on some of the things he's talking about. But it's really ethereal, and it's really a lot. It's hard to grasp a lot of these times. Anybody that can explain some of this stuff to me, please. Any Clowes fans out there, I would really. Is it Clowes or Close? I always thought it was Close, but I think I heard on Cartoonist Kayfabe, I thought they said Clowes. So part 8, it's a little girl, and there's a screech, and there's a guy. Don't know what's going on. This is issue 8, part 8. So I wish, as always, I wish there had been a what happened before, but this is such a weird thing going on that, even if they had described what was going on, I still don't think I would have understood it. There's a character, and he's looking down. He's in his apartment, I think. He's looking down at these two guys, and he says, oh, F word. And then he kind of sees them, and they drop something. No, I don't know what they did. I don't know what this is. I'm just going to probably read the whole thing. And so he leaves his apartment, and he lives in a squalor part of town. And there's a guy peeing. Hey, you got any change? He's like a homeless person, and he goes down his apartment building. I think these two guys had this thing, and they were throwing it away or something, or they just grabbed it or something. I'm not entirely sure. He goes over to the mist, which is some sort of building. I don't know. Oh God, sob. Ha ha ha. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Kill him. Honk, honk. Here we have some sort of character. I think he's like supposed to be a I have no idea what he's supposed to be actually. Some sort of cult member, maybe. I think there's cultists that have to do with this book. He runs away, I think. Looks over at something, and then, or no, the cultists are gonna run him down, but he dodges out of the way. They speed off. He looks at something, and then he looks back at the mystery hotel. I think that's a mystery hotel. And it's these two guys that he saw earlier, and they've got some sort of, is it a dog? I think it might be a dog. And then he's looking at them, and then does he go back to his house, or does he go to the mystery hotel or whatever it is? Meanwhile, oh, Clay, I miss you, my darling. Oh, Clay, sob. Your sob, my darling, sob. Oh, my baby. It's some sort of weird creature. I looked this up, and it said that it's an introspective on psychosis and somebody losing their mind, as well as a mystery murder kind of thing. I'll talk about the mystery murder later on as we go on. So there's squeak, squeak, squeak. Some sort of military guy is having sex, and she's looking aside. Interesting product. I don't know what this is. If this is his house, he goes somewhere, and there's attaining cosmic consciousness. Barbara Allen, 1, 3. Oh, I think the mystery. I think the mystery building. I think that's a theater. I think it's a movie theater. So he goes into. He takes all 3 keys. Don't understand it. Like a velvet glove cast in iron. That's one of the movies that he's going to go watch. There's a creek. I guess there's somebody else that's going to go watch the movie. He takes the key. He takes key number. I have no idea because there's still keys there. I think he takes key for Barbara Allen. So then this guy takes all 3 keys. He goes down into the movie theater, I think. And then there's this guy who's talking. Imagine if one day there were a heat wave that only affected certain things. The actual weather was warm and calm, like before a hurricane, but all water, puddles, and so forth was blazing hot, scalding to the touch, as were certain metallic surfaces. A man comes towards you, holding something. Suddenly he throws it onto the ground in extreme pain. It's a roll of quarters. You try to pick it up, but your hand is burned. The man explains that all quarters are blazing hot and banks are trying to get rid of them, but they're too hot to hold, and as a result, tongs have become a valuable commodity. People are paying $8 and up for a pair of tongs strong enough to hold a roll of quarters. No other coins are mentioned. Don't know what that means. Have no idea what that means. Anybody that has read this and understands it, please fill me in because I do not understand. I think he's going into this room where there's this TV, this television, and or he goes past it. He goes into room number 3, and this is where the theater is, even though it's a very small theater. Barbara Allen. In Scarlet Town, where I was born, there was a fair maid dwellin', made every youth cry well a day, and her name was Barbara Allen. I don't know if this is real song or made up song. Again, please, anybody that knows or knows, please let me know. She looks at him. He looks at her. I think he's kind of trying to imagine himself as being in the story, or either it's some sort of story dynamic where he is being transported into the story. I'm not entirely sure. This Barbara Allen, she gives her husband some coffee. They have sex. They, do groceries. They watch TV. And then she makes a phone call. They argue? I think they're arguing. And then the song starts in again. Then slowly, she got up and slowly went she nigh him. And when she pulled the curtains back, said, "Young man, I think you're dying." "Oh, yes, I'm sick. I'm very sick, and I never will be better until I have the love of one, the love of Barbara Allen. Oh, can ye not, in yonder town, in place where you were dwelling, you gave a toast to the ladies all, but you slighted Barbara Allen. Oh, yes, I can it well, in the place where it was dwelling. I gave a toast to the ladies all, but my love was Barbara Allen." So this character, who is, I believe, this character, is that this character? No, that's not this character. I think this is her boyfriend. She leaves him. She goes to her boyfriend. They're going to have sex. They start to kind of have sex, but then I think he can't get it up. So she looks away like it's her fault. Then lightly tripped she down the stairs. He trembled like an aspen. "'Tis vain, my dear young man, to hone for Barbara Allen." She walked out in the green fields. She heard his death bells knellin'. In every stroke, they seemed to say, hard-hearted Barbara Allen. Her eyes looked east, her eyes looked west. She saw his pale corpse coming. She cried, bearers, bearers, put him down, that I may look upon him. The more she looked, the more she grieved, until she burst out crying. She cried, bearers, bearers, take him off, for I am now a-dying. O Father, go, dig my grave, go dig it deep and narrow. He comes back with a gun, and he shoots her in the head, and then he walks off. Then the guy, who is the main character in the story, notices that there are people masturbating, and these others who are the cultists, I believe that they're cultists, they are the ones that were in this truck that were trying to run him down. I think it has to do with paranoia and all kinds of other weird stuff. They take the woman, I think she's supposed to be Barbara Allen, and they throw her into a grave. Then they drive off. They grab the guy that shot Barbara Allen, take him, shoot him, put him in the grave, and that's the end. And the guys that were masturbating leave, and there's a click, click, click of the movie reel. He looks back. It is the same cultists, and it's to be continued. And I'll read the rest of the song. Sweet William died for me today. I'll die for him tomorrow. They buried her in the old churchyard. Sweet William's grave was nigh her. And from his heart grew a red, red rose, and from her heart a briar. They grew and grew over the old church wall, till they couldn't grow no higher, until they tied a true lover's knot, the red rose and the briar. The end. So that's the first part 8 of the Part 8 of Like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron. Like I said, I think it has to do with a lot of ethereal thoughts, and I don't really understand a lot of what's going on. It kind of just is what it is. He's making his way through life, and all of these weird things happen. It's very Fargo-ish, or something like that. I don't know. And then the second story, because we'll only look at 2 stories. This doesn't really have to do with anything. It's just, I think it's, let's read it for a couple pages. Pussycat, pussycat, I've got flowers and lots of hours to spend with you. Hello, I'm Charlie, another transparent D. Clowes stand-in, and I'm here to tell you, all you fellers in your reading audience, that you don't know crap from Shinola when it comes to beautiful women. You drool over the likes of Marilyn Monroe or Kim Basinger or some supermodel because you got no aesthetics, man. Look around you. There are works of art walking these streets, and you're suckered in by boring idealist fantasy. What you crassly dismiss as ugliness, I find compelling. I'm right and you're wrong. So this is very Robert Crumish, where it's very sexualizing women, and he's just kind of giving his own thoughts on what he thinks about femininity and women and all of that stuff. He goes on. I mean, he says in the very beginning that he's another transparent D. Clowes stand-in. So this is really the artist really giving a rant on what he thinks and what he believes. He's not really trying to cover at all what his philosophical beliefs are in women, and he's just got this whole thing about women who are not as beautiful as some of the really truly beautiful women are, and he just kind of goes through. I'll read a little bit more. Once when I was a kid, around 1972, I was at a puppet show in Stony Lake, Michigan, and I spotted this young beauty across the room. I was mesmerized, absolutely unable to take my eyes off her. I pointed her out to the guys I was with, 2 white trash locals. Their response, ooh, gross. So he likes nerdy, weird girls. I think instead of him being, because like he goes and he talks about money, gold diggers and stuff like that. It's only like it's three pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only 4 pages, and he really just goes from panel to panel talking about how the beautiful women are not the ones that are any good, and really should go after the ones that you think are that everybody else thinks is not a really that great of a catch, and really stuff like that. And he really puts down women who are beautiful and really kind of props up women that most traditionally would not be known as beautiful. I think this is all about him, his own self-esteem and not feeling like he's worthy of a beautiful woman, which really in the end he ends up being one of those guys who falls for the beautiful woman. So even though he kind of likes this not sexual thing, he has it. So it's kind of cross contamination, or I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say. It's irony, I guess. It's some sort of irony, but it's Daniel Clowes giving his own little opinion on beautiful women versus women that maybe are a little bit more nerdy and would be a little bit easier for him to get, I guess. I don't know, I'm not entirely sure, but there's a whole bunch of different stories in all of his books that are like that, like I said, this one here is about comic book. No, this is about him drawing different cartoony things. This one is about the comic book collector and conventions and all that. So this is only a one pager. And and then there's other weird stuff. So he's got this this whole amalgamation of weird, crazy, dysfunctional stuff going on with his own point of view of how comic books are made, how they're meant to be, who the comic fans are, what they're meant to be. And it's really just a lot of his own ideas on what the world is all about. And I do have a lot of appreciation for that. I'm not gonna say that I don't like Eightball, because I really do like Eightball. All of the stories, even the ones that are confusing, you don't understand, they're enjoyable to read. And there might be just some weird twist to it, or there might be, it's just genuinely enjoyable to read. Even all of this stuff, this walls of text, because there is walls of text, there's very little actually cartooning in here, which is kind of some of the problem that I have with some of his work in the other pages, in the secondary stories are line. It's a lot of text, a lot. He could have broken these down into 3 or 4 more pages, easily, and given us some more artwork instead of all of this walls and walls of text. But it's enjoyable to read. It's fun to read, and his artwork, like I said, is very Arkramish. He's got some exaggerations. It's very cartoony, and which is. This stuff is a little bit more like the Hernandez brothers, where yes, it's cartoony, it's simple kind of illustrations, but it's a little bit more serious, has more serious tone, and he's not going for the goofy kind of laughing thing that he's going for here. I mean, look at her face; she's got the upper chops with and the big glasses and stuff. He's got the huge head, so he's trying to be funny. He's trying to be have all of this stuff, whereas this stuff is not the funny thing that he has in the later episodes or later little cartoons. So it's a lot of weird different stuff. I think that I'm going to actually get some Daniel Clowes graphic novels, and maybe I will do some stuff on that, because it's really hard. It's an anthology. It's almost like Random Access was at the beginning, where he had this main storyline and then he has all of these other different short stories. So it's like his own little anthology, which is what a lot of people like to do, and I enjoy it too. But I do like one long storyline that I can really sink my teeth into. So that's probably what I'll do. I'm going to not do any more reviewing of Eightball, because I have a few other issues, but they're like this. Like I said, there's lots of different stuff that's kind of spread out, and it's really hard to look at stuff. Maybe I'll look at a few of these older 1-2 page things, and we'll look at that. But I'm gonna try to get the graphic novels of the Glove and maybe Ghost Town. I think that's Ghost something. and I'll check those out because I could probably get those pretty cheaply. But anyway, it's really difficult to give this a grade. Uh, I'm going to give it an 8 for 8-ball. If I see them in the dollar bin, I'm going to snatch them up like that. Mostly because I could sell them, but also because they're enjoyable. They're fun to read, even if you get lost. And even if you are at odds with his personal view, worldview on whatever it is, whether it's comic book fans creating or sexualization of women or whatever it is, it's not like he's this um, what do you call that, comic skate. He's not a comic skate guy. He's this guy that has his own weird little, maybe he is a comic skate. I don't really know a lot of his other what he's thinking. But it kind of just is what it is. But I'm going to give this an 8 because the art is really good, the story's enjoyable, the writing's enjoyable, all of the dialogue is nice and fun to read. So I'm going to give it an 8. I can't give it a 9 or 10, even though I could with the art, although some of this is not really that great. But most of the art is really fantastic, and so I probably could go a little bit higher, but I'm not really going to because I do get lost. And as you guys know, that's kind of one of the biggest things that I'm really not into is being confused by comics. I'm really not into that. And also, it's just this anthology kind of thing. It really doesn't give me enough of the storyline to really give it a whole really, a 9 or 10 if I really thought that. But anyway, thanks for watching. 8-ball number 8. I'm giving it an 8. Like I said, thanks for watching. This is the kind of stuff I go through. I go through indie comics from the 70s, 80s, 90s, or whatever, black and white, color. Doesn't matter what it is. But I also go through Marvel and DC stuff if I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic for something. Or, some of my favorite comic books are Marvel and DC. A lot of indie artists and indie creators and stuff are like, oh, boo Marvel, boo DC. But they create a lot of really fantastic stuff. And you have to, sift and filter through the great things from the not great things, but they are there. There are great comic books from Marvel and DC. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you on Friday. And until then, keep on creating.